Hello everyone, I'm Farmer Sim and welcome back to Saxlingham. I do hope you're all doing very well and having a lovely day. So we're in October. This stands to be an extremely busy month that we've got ahead of us. We've got loads to do, so we can crack on with the corn harvest. We've got, as some of you may well be aware if you followed the series so far, we foraged the few headlands of the cornfield to turn to into chaff, into silage that's over there in the bunker. That is just going to be potentially a bit of a money earner for us moving into the future when it's all fermented away. And then the rest of the corn is going to be going here into the silo. That's all going to be accounted for pig food. We also have the soybean field, which is just over the in the distance over there on the other side of field 41. That is now ready to harvest as well, so we need to be working with that. And I've got something special coming to the farm any minute now, hopefully, that is going to help us with that. And of course we have the gigantic field of soybeans, field 37, that we need to tackle. That's a kind of a job that's been looming, and it's I've been planning for it, as it were. So I've got to say a massive thank you to all of you who've suggested some machinery to do that job, because obviously I do have this the beet harvester here, but because this has been a whole new experience for me, having never really done many root crops before in my relatively long time playing Farming Simulator. Yeah, root crops are kind of a new thing for me. So I have, because I've been doing them on a Etruria and I'm doing them on here as well, and they're kind of running in tandem. I've already done that field over in Etruria using that particular machine, and it took an absolute age. So I know now that because the field that we have here on Saxlingham is considerably bigger, I need to be tackling it with some slightly bigger equipment. So yeah, I've got to say a massive thank you to all of you who have suggested the equipment. We've got the likes of the Grimmy Rexor 6300 here, which has been a consideration. We've got the Homer Pterodos T440 here, which has also been a consideration, and also from the base game, because both of those two are mods, we've got the Roper Tiger 6S to consider as well. But here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is something a bit special for me, I've got to say. And again, I've got to give another massive shout out to the legend that is Mark Thor. I woke up this morning to a message from him on Discord, and he'd sent me a link to this. It's kind of like seeing an old friend again, this for me. It's the Claas Ford Dominator that Mark Thor made for Farming Simulator 22, and he's been very busy in the background turning it around for Farming Simulator 25. So in a kind of like just a bit of a thing here, I've kind of borrowed it from the dealership, as it were. We've got the header round the back there that we're going to be using this today for our soybean harvest. I know I've got my own combine harvest, which has got a much bigger header, of course, around the side here, but this is something quite special, so I'm just kind of borrowing it. I just wanted to test it. The mod isn't properly done yet. It's not finished yet, sorry, but it very interestingly and awesomely, Mr. Thor is hopefully aiming this mod to be out for all platforms on the Mod Hub. So with that in mind, obviously patience is a virtue and all that, but yeah, he is hoping to do it for all platforms on released on the Mod Hub. So that is really cool. But it's got a few more things that you can do with it as compared to what it was back in 22. There's colour specifications and stuff you can change, and you can also give it a name. You've got name badges that you can apply to the side of it, which I think is really cool, and numbers as well. You can add some numbers onto it, which, yeah, it's just the features now that it's got, I think is really cool. But yeah, I used this back on my series on Court Farms. This was my harvester on Court Farms, and I just love it. I really do. It's an absolutely gorgeous piece of kit. I've always liked the Dominators, but this one in particular I've always just found really cool. So yeah, we're going to be running this in a little while's time to cut the soybeans. Now, of course, everything that we've got moving into the future, field-wise, most of it is all going towards the pigs. Of course, we've got the corn that's going to be going into the silo here for the pigs, and that's for their base food. We've got, from the grains, we've got wheat and barley. We do have just over 100,000 litres of barley that we cut a few episodes ago from field 41 here. That is in the silo here. That is all going to be going towards the grain side of the pig food. We've got from the protein section, obviously we've got the soybeans that we're going to be cutting shortly. They're all going to be going into the silo, of course, to go for pig food. And we also do have, I think if I remember correctly, it's field 39 over in the distance. a mile or so over there, that's sunflowers. Now, I did mention an episode or so ago that I might consider that to be a cash crop, but because the soybean field isn't massive, I think it would be wise of me to consider now putting a bit more thought to it. I'm going to keep the soybeans that we get out of that field, and I'll potentially keep the sunflowers that we get out of that field as well, and just stuff them all into the silo, and then we should have plenty of the pig's protein. And of course, from the root crop side of things for the pig food, we have all the potatoes over in the potato hole over there, hence why the sugar beets is going to be pretty much entirely a cash crop, and I'm hoping I'm going to be getting quite a bit of money from the cash crop. Now, I have considered the potential of doing something further with the sugar beets in respect to productions, and maybe doing something in respect of like a sugar factory perhaps, but I'm still going to consider that, because that would involve a massive investment and production systems, etc, etc. I am going to still carry on doing sugar beets when we get this lot out the ground. I still like to carry on doing them, but whether we keep them in the same field or not, I'm not too sure. We shall see. It's like I say, I'm going to put a bit more thought to that, but when it comes to the equipment that we've got, obviously, like I said before, we've got our own sugar beet harvester, but it's got a header width, a pickup width of like 3 meters, and with the size of the fields that we've got, it's just woefully inadequate now that I've experienced it over on Etruria. So with that in mind, I might sell it and just get the money in the bank, as it were, and consider leasing the big stuff to get the job done in the future, and go from there. So potentially there's the possibility that we could sell our horn topper and the beet harvester. I think collectively they're roughly worth about 160 grand across the two of them. So yeah, it's just something to consider. Like I say, now that I've experienced a bit of sugar beets, I now know that they take an enormous amount of time, a really, really long time. So anyway, right, as you can see, I've just hooked up the slurry tank. We've got 18,000 litres in here. We've got a bit more slurry across the farm as well, between the cows and the pigs. So what I do want to do is just, it's not this field. I'm coming to the wrong field. I want to get into the grass field. I had this field in my mind because this is field 41. We're going to be drilling some... Where's that tree come from there? That shouldn't be there. I'll get that removed in a minute. Yeah, we're going to be popping wheat into this field. Like I said before, we've got the barley to fall back on, which hopefully... I think it's about 106,000 litres we've got in the silo. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, touch wood, that barley for the grain side of the pig food should see us through several months into, if I get some wheat drilled, because we can drill wheat now in October. If we get some wheat drilled now into this field or soon, then that should possibly be coming out of the ground roughly when we're likely to run out of the barley. So we shall see. That's the plan I've got in mind anyway. So anyway, we need to increase the level of nitrogen in this grass field here, just by a little bit. It's not too bad, but yeah, it does need picking up a bit. So let's get this thing turned on. There we go, and get some slurry spread. Start using up a little bit of free fertilizer. So we'll get cracking with this, and I'll see you soon. Right, there we go. Job done. Nitrogen levels brought up a little bit there in the grass field, so that yield is as good as it can be for now. So, but we've actually used up just about every single drop of slurry that we've had on the farm. It didn't go as far as I thought it would. We've actually now only got about 1,286 litres, I think, in total across all the different animal barns. So, yeah, pretty much run out of that now. So we'll have to rely on the animals building that back up again. We've got about 44,000 litres of manure on the farm, but in order for me to take advantage of that, I'm going to have to go call next door on my neighbour farmer Kim and see if I can borrow her manure spreader, if she'll let me. I'll have to persuade her that I'll keep it clean and give it a wash when I'm finished with it, but for now, that's all that bit done. Now we're going to go now focus on the soybeans. I need to get those done. I want to get the soybeans and the corn done first before I tackle the big job of the sugar beets. I want to get all them done first because obviously they go towards the pig food. So I want to make sure that the pigs are completely accounted for in that respect, and all their food is sorted. And then I think it will be, well, it's not going to be in this episode, of course, the sugar beets, but that's I think that potentially could be an episode on its own. But yeah, like I say, get the soybeans and the corn done, and then we can set a decent amount of time aside to really focus on the sugar beets. Now, the way I'm going to approach the sugar beets, like I said before, we're going to be spending a pretty decent amount of cash. I did do some testing in between episodes because I really did want to know how it was going to turn out. I didn't want to sit down and go for a recording session to realise that it was all going to be problematic and cause me a load of nightmares. But essentially, I did. I tested it with the with Hispano Modding's Homer Pterodos T440, which was a mod suggestion from the community there to give that a go. But unfortunately, as much as I want to use that, because it does have of all the three large beet harvesters that I've got the choice of, it's got the biggest header at 5.8 meters, I think it is, but it doesn't work, unfortunately, in the way I want to do it, in the way I want to be using Courseplay and auto drive. For some reason, it's a little bit like the Armour Salmon beet harvester that I used over on Etruria. When it's full and it needs unloading and auto drive comes up to it to unload, it doesn't extend its belt in this respect, not a pipe, but it doesn't extend its belt to unload, and in a job that size I'd have to be intervening every single time it was full, and then with that in mind, I'm gonna have to push that one to the side. So the other one is the Grimmie Rexall 6300. That has a very narrow pickup header at like 2.8 meters, which is actually narrower than the one I've got there. Even though it's got a much bigger capacity, it's still a vastly expensive piece of machinery. So essentially the one choice that I've got, the one that's going to work, and I know it works because I've tested it, is the Roper Tiger 6S. Now that is going to cost me an initial outlay of 35,000 quid, and then onwards from that it's going to be somewhere in the region of about £14,000 an hour. So it's a massively expensive piece of kit, but I feel it's going to have to be done. That really is. And the way I'm going to approach it, we're going to be leasing that to get it done, and we're also going to be utilising just about every tractor and trailer that we've got on the farm. All of these three will be running in support of that big harvester. We're going to be running these two trailers, because these two, even though they're silage trailers, they do still take sugar beets. So we're going to be running both of these because they've got a slightly larger capacity, and one of the Richard Westons here. But we are also going to be running the two lorries that are currently down at the dealership. Now those, within the confines of the series, they belong to, a local grain merchant, as it were, so they're going to be coming along in support as well. Now I know, because I did test it, and this is where I'm hoping that I am going to be getting quite a lot of money from that whole job. I get about 7,000 quid, just over, for each articulated lorry's worth of sugar beets, because we are going to be selling it. Another executive decision I made. I know I've said a couple of times in previous episodes that the plan was, or had been up to now, to load up the sugar beets into our shed over there loose, and just dump them in a big pile on the floor, as I have done with the potatoes here, because there is a few litres of sugar beets over here in the shed, but I've decided no, I'm not going to do that. I don't need to worry about doing that. We've got, like I say, look there, we've got all the potatoes in there, so I don't need to worry about filling this thing up with sugar beets as well. So we're going to sell everything here, essentially. So before we get on with the sugar beet harvest, I'll be loading these up into a trailer, and sending them off to be sold. We'll be taking them down to the farmers market in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, and just getting all the sugar beets sold essentially. So, but yeah, I get about just north of £7 per articulated trailer. So, and that was very soon into the start of the testing of that harvest that I did, just so I knew where I stood with it all in that respect. So, yeah, it's going to be a massive job, it really is. But I am looking forward to it, don't get me wrong, and I'm looking forward to the financial income that it's going to bring in. So, right. Anyway, so next thing on the list, next job, is to crack on with the soybeans. And I am very excited to give this beauty a test, Mark Thor's Ford Claas Dominator. So we'll run this header over to the field. I may run a couple of tractors with the trailers with this one, I'm not too sure. The combine harvester actually does have quite a big capacity. You've got a selectable capacity. I think you can select the base size of 10,000 litres. You can increase that to 20, or I think you can also do a 30,000 litre as well. But I've got that one. That one's at 10,000 litres, which I feel is a bit more realistic in that respect. So, yeah, we're going to crack on with this, get the soybeans done. As I say, focus on the pig food first, get the soybeans harvested. We'll get the corn harvested again. I'm not too sure if the corn's going to be in this episode yet. That is a relatively sizable job to get done. Yeah, we need to focus on this one first. Get the soybeans and the corn into the silo, and then that's pretty much us sorted then to keep on top of our pigs. And then, yeah, and then we can crack on, potentially in the future episode, getting the corn done. And then getting forward with the sugar beets. So I'll just park this thing up here for now. Pop that out of the way. We'll drop that there. Lovely stuff. Back to the farm. I'll get the tractors and trailers sorted out. Check I'm not driving into traffic. There we are. So yeah, I'll get everything sorted out now, and I'll pick you up in a moment. And we're back at the field. Right then, looking forward to this. Let's put this beauty to the test again. It's so nice to be back in this, it really is. Again, another massive shout out to Mr. Thor for sending this to me. Giving me the opportunity to test it out and give it a run. There we are. Nice. Now this is the bigger of the two headers that you can equip this with. It does come with two different sizes. This one is, if I jump into our garage, just show you there, this one is 7.6 meters. There is a slightly smaller one that you can buy for it as well, if you so wished. But yeah, I figured we'd run the bigger one. So let me just check everything's all sorted there. There we are. Enable the straw swath there. So let's get that turned on. Nice. Right, let's get cracking.
But
There we go, job done. Very, very happy with that. Now, that has firmly cemented my decision that we are going to be holding on to the soybeans in the future when we get that field harvested as well. That's not going to be ready till next month. Obviously, I was umming and ahhing whether I was going to be keeping all the soybeans here and then selling the sunflowers as cash crop. But off this field, we got 39,727 litres, so we are definitely going to need to hold on to those sunflowers as well, so that they both count towards the protein side of the pigs. But I tell you what, I love this thing. I really, really do. And I must admit, it just made me think as I was working around that, getting that job done. As I normally do, this is just how, I don't know if anyone else plays like this, but the arrival of a mod like this, it's given me an opportunity, a particularly good opportunity to expand the farm. I'm justifying this. Yeah, it's given me the opportunity to really consider an option to expand the farm. So hear me out. So this is in total, I think it's about 65,000 quid, 25,000 quid for the header. The combine harvester that we currently have on the farm, the big New Holland thing, that is worth about, these noisy drivers, that's worth about just under £550,000. Now I've got that combine on the farm because we needed a combine to start off with when I started off the series. This thing obviously wasn't available, it didn't exist. There was a couple of other ones, but I went for that New Holland because why not? It was a combine harvester. We've got its accompanying grain header and of course the corn header as well. And obviously I did mention earlier on as well that the possibility of considering selling our relatively small beet harvester, which is in reality is too small for the field that we currently have with the beets in, and the horn topper as well. So the plan is, obviously I've been doing a bit of so yeah, hear me out. I know I'm a bit of a bugger for this. I do this all the time, don't I? But there's a plan. So if I sell all of that, if I sell the combine harvester and this is just selling it from the menu, this isn't taking everything to the dealership. If I was to go through all that palaver and take everything to the dealership and get a bit more money for it, which I still might do, but if I was to sell all of that equipment from the menus, just from the menus in its current state, it's worth just £902,610, which is, well, it's almost £1 million, isn't it? Which is amazing. But if I was to then invest that money directly back into the farm and purchase a field, so if I go to the map PDA, and there is one that I do have in consideration already, and that's field 16 here, which currently has it's a field of grass, it's ready to harvest, and its current worth is £734,688. So if I sell all that equipment that in reality I could justify by saying I don't need, buy in that field, that will leave me with, in total, including what we currently have in the bank at the minute, £230,000, which is amazing. I then pay for this, which is, you know, give or take a bit, it's about 90 grand. You know, we've still got more money, a lot more money in the bank that we have here. I still have a harvester, and I then gain several acres more of land on the farm. If I have a look and see how big is that field, 26.57 acres. So that will, you know, it's a big field, which is great, and it's grass. So obviously I'll be able to take advantage of that, get its cut done, get the grass cut, and then have potentially an enormous backlog of food for our now grass-fed beef stock on the farm. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a win-win-win-win. So yeah, I think I may well go forward with that. I'm not going to do it right this second. I'm not going to do it just yet, because we still need to harvest the corn, and for that I am going to be using the New Holland combine harvester with its corn header, and then once that corn's out the ground, then I can consider doing that. I think it's a good idea because it means I get this thing on the farm full time, which again, it was always one of my favourite harvesters back in Farming Simulator 22. I've always liked the Dominators, but Mark Thor's Ford Claas Dominator here is just, for me, I don't know why, it's just something a bit special. And I'll be able to buy it outright, and I'll potentially be able to upgrade it as well, because at the minute this current one has a grain capacity of 10,000 litres, so I can upgrade that to 20,000 if I wanted, or even 30,000 if I had to, but I feel that may be a little bit too much. If I upgrade it to 20,000, it's still got a much higher capacity than the big New Holland we've got on the farm. Yes, the grain header is nowhere near as big as the one we currently have, but that's fine, because in reality we don't have that. Our arable fields at the minute aren't huge. So for now, this one will do us just fine. I am on the lookout for, and please point me in the direction of one if you can, ladies and gentlemen. But I know there are a handful of Clark's grain headers out there, a handful of packs, but they all cut. None of them that I've been able to find are have the ability to colour customize. I do have this blue now. The blue and the white of this model is now saved in my custom colours. So if I was able to find a slightly wider Clark's header, and then I can colour customize it without faffing around in Giants Editor or Blender or all that kind of stuff, and I can customize it to suit this harvester, then that would be brilliant. Don't need anything stupid wide. I'm not talking like 13.8 meters or anything. I'm just talking maybe 10 meters or something like that. But it'll just be a much better thing, I think, to be able to increase the size of this header just a bit for future ventures. We shall see. But either way, it's a plan. I feel that plan could be, well, it's financially sensible, that's for sure. We get some more land on the farm, we get some more money in the bank, we still get a combine harvester. I will have to invest in a corn header at some point in the future as well, but that can be, we can sort that out and plan that a little bit better moving forward. But yeah, good plan, I feel, ladies and gentlemen. So there we go. Anyway, yeah, that's the plan moving forward. I think we'll have a bit of a consideration of that, but like I say, I'm not going to do any of that yet until I've got the corn out of the ground. In the other big field over there, what field is it? Field 42. Yeah, once we've got field 42 done, and in the silo, then we can do all that, make some money, buy some more land, get some more grass, and I get to keep this beastie. Brilliant. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. I really do hope you have enjoyed the episode and found it a little bit of fun. If you're new to the channel and you've enjoyed the video and you like the way I'm doing things, please consider hitting that subscribe button and joining the channel. Please hit that like button too, as it does do wonders. It helps the YouTube algorithm do its thing. And if you like the idea of supporting the channel, there are a couple of ways you can do that. There is my Giants Partner promo code if you are looking to purchase Farming Simulator 25 or any of its add-ons or DLCs. There is coffee.com if you'd like to buy me a coffee. And there is also my G-Portal affiliate link if any of you are looking to purchase a multiplayer server to play with your mates. All the links to these will be in the video description below. Any help and support there, ladies and gentlemen, would be massively appreciated. So, thank you very much for your time again, ladies and gentlemen. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.